Good afternoon, everyone. So today, let me engage the lab session. Okay. So people who have missed the previous lab session class, to them, I'm repeating this. Not the entire lab session, a few announcements. Okay. So as per VTU, they have asked us to conduct 75% of the labs once the college reopens. So since you have 8 labs, so 75% would be around 7. All right. So from our department, we have decided to take 7 labs. All right. So shortly we will let you know the experiment which is left out. All right. Fine. So in the previous lab class, that is in the last week, I had explained about the measurement of resistance and inductance of a choke coil. Okay. People who have missed that particular session can go through with the content which is uploaded in Google Classroom. Okay, so please have a look. So today let me consider the second experiment, okay, which is measurement of using 2 wattmeter method. So title of the experiment is measurement of 3-phase power using 2 wattmeter method. Okay. So first, okay, that itself is the aim. Aim is the same thing I can write. Okay. You can write the same thing. That is, aim of this experiment is to measure 3-phase power using 2 wattmeter method. All right. And next you have apparatus required. Apparatus required. So under apparatus, majorly, you would be needing ammeters, voltmeters, and wattmeters. Okay, so serial number, then instrument or apparatus name, and then you will have the range, and then you will have the type of apparatus, and finally the quantity. Okay. So voltmeter. Okay. So you would be needing 1 voltmeter. Okay. Of the range 0 to 600 volts. Why 0 to 600 volts? Because 3-phase supply you are connecting it to. So the magnitude of 3-phase supply is about 415 volts. So the nearest scale value is 600. So that's how we select the range. Okay, 600 volts. And type is MI, moving iron. Okay, that's because AC instrument. Okay. Next, you need ammeter. 1 ammeter is sufficient. AC type, that's the reason I have written MI. And ammeter range 0 to 5 or 0 to 10 ampere is sufficient. Okay, 0 to 5 or 0 to 10 ampere is sufficient. Okay. And then you need wattmeter. Wattmeter. So wattmeter range is slightly different because your wattmeter is kind of a hybrid meter. which will have the current coil as well as the potential coil. So you have to describe both the coil range. So 0 to 10 amperes, comma, 600 volts. Okay, you can simply write 10 amperes, comma, 600 volt UPF. So that's the range. 10 ampere is taken from the ammeter range, 600 volt is taken from voltmeter range, and UPF, because you are using a resistive load. A resistive load is nothing but unity power factor load. Okay, and type, you can just put hyphen there, and quantity 2, right? Why 2? Using 2 wattmeter method. Okay, and yeah, you can write in fourth 3-phase load, 3-phase R load. R load is nothing but resistive load. There is no range and there is no type, and quantity is 1. So a big load bank you will have. So that will be your 3-phase load. Okay. So this is about the apparatus requirement: voltmeter, ammeter, wattmeter, and a load. So only 4 apparatus you would require. Okay. Followed by apparatus, we can discuss about the circuit diagram. Okay, so next up, third one, you can write circuit diagram. Now, circuit diagram is actually pretty simple. You can avoid the transformer. Don't know. Okay. But in the lab manual, they have given the transformer as well. Okay. Let me just confirm whether to use transformer or not. So, okay, let us use a transformer, no problem. If they ask us to remove, we can remove. So, 3-phase supply, RYB, and the description of supply is 3-phase, 50 hertz, 400 volts. Okay. 400 volts. Yes. Yes. So that's your supply. Okay. Next, you have the MCB, TPST. This is your MCB. Okay. And fuse element. Okay, these are your fuses, and then it gets connected to the transformer. So this is your transformer. Okay. 3-phase transformer. three-phase transformer. Now, this is the input side of the transformer, and this is the output side of the transformer. All right. So on the input side, you will have RYB terminals. Similarly, on the output side, you will have RYB terminals. What you have to understand over here is that the input R of the transformer is connected to R of the supply, Y to Y, B to B. By doing so, you can follow the right phase sequence. All right. All right. Next, you have the output. Okay. People who have joined late, please drop your attendance. Okay. Output. So output of the transformer is actually connected to three-phase load using 2 wattmeters. Okay, 2 wattmeters. So first, let us connect the wattmeters, current coil, and the potential coil. Okay. Similarly, current coil and the potential coil. Okay. So, yeah, let me just write here R and Y somewhere here. And here we will place the ammeter. Okay. So range of ammeter is 0 to 10 amperes. And this is your first wattmeter. You can name the terminals of the wattmeter, MLCV. Okay. Similarly, this is your second wattmeter. Name the terminals ML, C, and V. Okay. The two potential coils are connected to the Y terminal. As you can see, we have created a node. Okay. Y terminal. All right, so that's your wattmeter, and you can connect a voltmeter. Basically, say this is Y, and say this is B here. So let's place a voltmeter here. One terminal here and one terminal here. Okay. So what is the voltmeter range? 0 to 600. 600. Okay. So we have connected all the instruments, 2 wattmeters, say W1 and say W2. If you want, you can put it in a text box showing that it's a wattmeter. Okay, so let me place this wattmeter within this text box. Okay, so it says that it's a wattmeter. All right. Once this is done, then you have to just connect it to a three-phase load. So we have a star-connected balanced resistive load. All right. So and connect three-phase load here. So terminals of the load are, and this is B, and this is Y. Okay. So terminals are pretty straightforward. Terminal connection, R to R, Y to Y, and B terminal to B. Okay. So this is your connection. Okay, and these are variable load, so you can put these arrows. Basically, you have 3 star-connected rheostats or variable resistors, and the common point is called as the neutral point. Yeah. All right. Fine. So this is the circuit diagram for the measurement of three-phase power. Okay. Remember one thing, 2 wattmeters you have to use. So what we have done is we have placed 1 wattmeter in R phase and 1 wattmeter in B phase. Whenever you place the wattmeters in 2 phases, what you have to do is the leftover phase has to be connected with the potential coils. So which is the leftover phase here? The Y phase. So to the Y phase, we have connected the potential coil. So potential coil is CV coil and current coil is ML coil. All right. So first potential coil is connected here and the second potential coil is connected here. So this is your circuit diagram for measurement of three-phase power using 2 wattmeter method. Okay. So any doubts in the circuit diagram? If you have any doubts in the circuit diagram, you can tell me. So this is your three-phase load. And this is your three-phase supply. Okay. Load is connected to supply, and we want to see how much this load is consuming power. So to measure that power, we have connected W1 and W2. And we also want to see what is the current drawn from the supply. That's the reason we have connected one ammeter. Okay. So this is your circuit diagram. If you have any doubts, please let me know. If you don't have doubts, I can proceed with the tabular part. Okay. So you can tell me by looking at the circuit diagram itself. In tabular column, what and all we need to write down? In tabular column, we need to write down the voltage, the current, the 2 wattmeter readings. That's all. And then the remaining columns can be used to find the total power measured. All right. Next up, we have the tabular column. So why do you use tabular column? You use tabular column to record the readings. Right? You will conduct experiment, right? So you need to write down the measurements of the experiment. So that will be done in our tabular column. So as I was saying, in the tabular column, you can write serial number, voltmeter reading in volts, okay, which is nothing but the line voltage we are measuring, ammeter reading, which is nothing but the line current, wattmeter reading W1, okay, expressed in watts, wattmeter reading W2, expressed in watts, then the total power P, then the power factor cos phi. Okay, so total power P is equal to W1 plus W2. Okay, so this is your tabular column. So say 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 readings we can take. Okay, very simple. Voltmeter reading, ammeter reading, wattmeter reading. Add the readings, that will give you the power. Power consumed in AC circuit. And then you can try out with the cos phi. Cos phi formula sometime later I will give. Okay, so that's your tabular column. All right. Once you are done with the tabular column, you can talk about the procedure. So procedure is nothing but it's a way of working. In the sense, I'll give the apparatus, I'll give the circuit diagram to you. How are you going to proceed with the experiment? That is nothing but the procedure. The sequential way of conduction is procedure. Procedure is pretty simple. I normally suggest my students not to buy the procedure from the manual. You can understand the procedure, just by looking at the circuit diagram. So first point is circuit is made as per the circuit diagram. Circuit is made as per the circuit diagram. Circuit is made as per the circuit diagram. Second one, three-phase supply is turned on. Three-phase supply is turned on. Third one, a particular load is selected. Okay, what is your load here? Pure resistive load, which is connected in star band. So you can write for a particular load selection, observe voltmeter, comma ammeter and wattmeter readings. Okay, fine. So you have selected one load and you will observe what is the voltmeter reading, ammeter reading and wattmeter reading. Then what will you do? Change the load to some other value. Then you can write the load is varied in steps. The load is varied in steps and take down V, I and W1 V, I, W1 and W2 readings. That's all. And in the fifth step, you can say that you are done with the conduction. Now, how will you turn off? Just like that, will you turn off? No. You will have to get back to the original condition. So, reduce the load to 0 or original position and switch off the supply. That's all. So that's your procedure. Connection is made as per the circuit diagram. Three-phase supply is turned on. For a particular load selection, observe the meter readings. When you say meter, voltmeter, ammeter and wattmeter. And in the fourth step, you can say load is varied in steps and the meter readings are observed. Reduce the load to 0, switch off the supply. As simple as that. So that's your procedure. After procedure, calculation comes. Calculation. Now, in calculation, you have to first find out analytically and what is W2. Because when you connect the wattmeter will give you some reading. Wattmeter will give you some reading. Now, whether that reading is correct or not, how will you check? So that can be checked from the analytical. So in the theory, we have observed that, we have seen that W1 is equal to VL IL cos of 30 minus 5 and W2 is VL IL cos of 30 plus 5. So in these two formula, you have to substitute. So you have to substitute voltmeter and ammeter read. So you have to just substitute voltmeter and ammeter reading. Okay, when you substitute voltmeter and ammeter reading, okay, here you will substitute IL, you will give me the value of 5. Who will give me the value of 5? What is 5 for a resistive load? 5 for a resistive load?
0.
0. That's all. Because pure resistor. So that way you will be able to find W1 and W2. So W1 and W2, here I will write, check with the experimental result. If not the same, they should be very close to each other. Okay. And similarly, having known W1 and W2, you can find W1 plus W2. So this also you can verify with the practical results, because in the tabular column, if you refer, we have made 2 columns for W1 and W2. And over there you can add up W1 and W2 to calculate the practical power. And using analytical formula, you can add up these two to find the theoretical power, and you can compare your results. Okay, so that's about the power measurement. Okay, then what about cos phi? Cos phi. So cos phi, using analytical formula, you can find that cos phi is equal to cos of tan inverse of root 3 W1 minus W2 divided by W1 plus W2. So this formula you can use to find cos phi. Okay. So what is W1 minus W2? That is difference of 2 wattmeter readings. But can anyone tell me which type of load did we consider? We consider a resistive load, right? Now for a resistive load, what is the phase angle? What is the angle between voltage and current?
0.
For our load, phase angle phi between voltage and current is 0 degree. So what is the effect of 0 degree on wattmeter reading? W1 is equal to W2. So whenever phase angle is 0 degree, the 2 wattmeters read equal readings. So what will happen here? W1 is equal to W2. So W1 minus W1, that becomes 0. So basically, cos phi for a resistive load, you don't have to find out. Only once if you can show that W1 is equal to W2, that is sufficient. So cos phi is nothing but cos of, tan inverse of, okay, so this you will get it as 0 degree. That's because 0 by W1 plus W2. Basically you get 0 degree. So cos of 0 is 1. So power factor for a resistive load is always 1. All right. So that's how you calculate the power factor from the analytical formula. All right. So this is about your experiment number 2, which is measurement of 3-phase power using 2 wattmeter method. All right. Any doubts? And in the conclusion, you can probably conclude, or you can talk about 2 important points, that is 2 wattmeters are sufficient to measure three-phase power. And you can also say that in a pure resistive load, power factor is always 1, due to which W1 is equal to W2. So probably you can highlight these 2 points while writing down the conclusion. All right. Some popular Viva questions. Normally, the external examiner will ask Viva questions pertaining to this experiment. First Viva question could be something like this. For RL, right? In place of, let's say, pure resistive load, what will happen if I go for RL load? Can anyone tell me what will happen if we go for RL load? If we go for RL load, are we going to get W1 is equal to W2? Is there any possibility to get W1 is equal to W2?
No, sir.
No. Yeah. So that is not. Okay. So no, you cannot get W1 is equal to W2 because phase angle is finite. Okay. So that is one question. So second question could be, what if a pure inductive bar capacitive load is connected? Okay. What if a pure inductive or capacitive load is connected? What would be the power consumption? How will you find the power consumption? If at all you have 3 inductors or 3 pure capacitors connected in stuff, what will be the power consumption? Any formula can you tell me for power consumption? Can anyone tell me what will be the power consumption when you consider pure inductive or capacitive load? No formula. Power is 0. Why 0? Ideal capacitor and ideal capacitor, inductor cannot consume power. They store.
So 5.
Pardon me?
5 will be 90 degrees.
Correct. 5 will be 90 degree, hence they do not consume power. Okay. What will be the expression for power in case 1? What will be the expression for power in case 1?
W1 plus W2.
Right. That is using wattmeter readings. Analytical formula, can you give me? What do you get W1 plus W2 as? If you add up these
Root 3 VL
IL.
cos phi.
Correct. And cos phi you can find from the tan expression, right? Phi is equal to tan inverse of root 3 W1 minus W2 divided by W1 plus W2. Okay. So most likely, you may get questions of this kind. What will be the power consumption if you connect RL load? Root 3 VLIL cos phi. And what will be the power factor for RL load? You should say, oh yeah, what is the power factor for RL load? Greater than 0, less than 1, you should say. How much? We don't know. It depends on the resistance and inductive reactance value. So what you can tell is greater than 0 but less than 1 is the power factor for RL load. On the other hand, power factor for pure capacitive or pure inductive is always 0. Okay, due to which power becomes 0. Okay, so the important questions, Viva questions, what you can expect from this particular experiment. So 2 experiments we have done. The third experiment, pretty easy. I think most of you have done. That is measurement of, verification of KVL and KCL. Verification of KVL and KCL. See, don't worry. That's because few of you have done, but few of you have not done this KVL and KCL. That's because in cycle 1, totally we have completed only 3 experiments. That's the reason. All right. So KVL and KCL. This let me do it very quickly. So first, let us consider KVL. Okay. So aim is pretty straightforward. Aim is verification of Kirchhoff's voltage law and Kirchhoff's current law. And KVL, you can draw the circuit diagram. Okay. Plus minus R1, R2, R3, and all these resistors are variable resistors. Variable resistors. Okay. So say resistor 1 is 0 to 50 ohm. Resistor 2 is 0 to 100 ohm, and resistor 3 is 0 to 150 ohm. Okay. This is your regulated power supply. So you can put an arrow. So this arrow simply indicates that the component is variable in nature. So this is your RPS. RPS stands for regulated power supply. So the range is 0 to 30 volt DC. 0 to 30 volt DC. Okay. Now, in KVL, we want to prove that supply voltage V, okay, supply voltage V is equal to terminal voltage, say V1, V2, V3. Summation of terminal voltage V1, V2, V3. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to connect voltmeters across the resistor terminals. Okay. Say V1, V2, and V3. Okay. Plus minus, plus minus, plus minus. Range could be 0 to 10 volts. You can use. You can use 0 to 30. They are saying 0 to 30 millivolts. Okay. All voltmeters are same thing. 0 to 30, 0 to 30 millivolts. And type of voltmeter is MC, moving coil. So MC is used for DC instruments and MI is used for AC instruments. Mi stands for moving iron and Mc stands for moving coil. So this is the circuit diagram. Tabular column. Here you can write RPS voltage. And you can write V1, V2, V3, and then you can write V, which is V1 plus V2 plus V3. Okay. So RPS voltage, you can start from say 10, and you can, in steps of 5 volts, say 10, 15, so on and so forth, can go up to 30 volts. Okay. So accordingly, you need to write down the voltage values. Okay. So that's your tabular column. Procedure is pretty simple. First point that remains the same for all experiments, that is, connections are made as shown in the circuit diagram. Second point, supply is turned on and RPS voltage is increased in steps of 5 volts. Meter readings are noted. So in the step 2, you can say that supply is turned on and regulated power supply voltage is increased in steps of 5 volts. And at each step, the meter readings are noted down. Reduce the supply voltage to 0 volts and switch off the supply. That's all. 3-step procedure. You see, how simple is that? So you don't have to buy the procedure. Okay. The flow you can explain. So that's about your KVL. For KCL, the same procedure holds good, but the circuit diagram changes. Okay. For KCL, let us consider a network in which a branch is present. So basically, we have a node over here. Okay. And let us connect the ammeters. The ammeter 1, ammeter 2, ammeter 3. Okay. All are DC ammeters, so you can put a line, straight line. So straight line indicates that the meters are DC. Regulated power supply. Okay. RPS, where you can vary the voltage from 0 to 30 volts. Okay. Regulated power supply, DC. And you have to put the polarities for ammeter because it's a DC supply. DC is a polarized supply. So you have to put the arrow direction. So where the current is entering, that particular point is denoted with positive sign. Okay. Similarly, this current enters here and flows like this, right? So near to the arrow, you have to put positive sign, and the opposite one becomes negative. Similarly, here the current divides and flows like this, correct? So this side plus and this side minus. So that's your ammeter polarities. So once you are done with the ammeter, you can write down the range. So range for this ammeter is 0 to 300 milliamperes, okay, comma MC. MC stands for moving coil. Similarly, 0 to 300 milliamperes. 0 to 300 milliamperes. Okay. So let's take this as I1, this as current I2, and this as current I3. Similarly, let us mark the resistors R1, R2, and R3. All right. So this resistance is 0 to 50 ohm, and this is the central resistor is 0 to 100 ohm, and the third resistor is 0 to 150 ohm. Yeah. Next comes the tabular column. Tabular column. So in tabular column, what are you going to write? The RPS voltage, and then the currents, current I1, current I2, and current I3. So RPS voltage is varied from 10 to 30 in steps of 5 volts. So that is 10, 5, 15, so on and so forth until you reach 30. Okay. So at each step, note down the ammeter readings. So that's your tabular column. And then you have the procedure. Step 1, common step, right? Connections are made as shown in the circuit diagram. Supply is switched on. RPS voltage is increased from 10 volts in steps of 5 volts. At each step, the ammeter readings are noted down. Okay, that's your step 2. Step 2, what you will do? You will vary the RPS voltage from 10 volts in steps of 5 volts. And at each step, ammeter readings are noted down. Reduce the RPS voltage to 0, switch off the power supply. Only 3 steps, okay, in procedure. So this is your experimental conduction of KVL and KCL. So once you get the meter readings, you can check whether current I1 is equal to I2 plus I3. If so, you can conclude by stating that Kirchhoff's current law is verified. Similarly, when it comes to Kirchhoff's voltage law, if V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3, then you can say that Kirchhoff's voltage law is verified. All right. Fine. So that's about the experimental conduction point of view. Right. Now, what about the theoretical calculation? Now, in exam, whenever you get KVL and KCL, you are expected to do the theoretical calculations beforehand. So, theoretical calculations are then mapped with experimental results, and we try to correlate, the accuracy of experimental values with theoretical value. So, theoretical calculation. I will do it for KCL. KVL, I will leave it to you because quickly you can find out. Okay. So KCL, since in the procedure we had mentioned that RPS voltage is increased from 10 volts to 30 volts in steps of 5 volts. So let me consider RPS voltage is equal to say 10 volt. Okay. So the same calculation you can carry for the other voltages as well. So this is your 50 ohm, 100 ohm, and 150 ohm resistor. Okay, plus minus. So I1, I2, and I3. So this is R1, R3, R2. So what is that you should find? You should find what is I1, what is I2, and what is I3. So you need to find out I1, I2, and I3. Okay. So let's find out. So I can first find out I1. So to find I1, what I will do, I will try to find out because once I have R equivalent, I will be able to find I1 because I1 going to be V by R equivalent. And once I know I1, I can use branch current formula to find out R1 and R2. Sorry, I2 and I3. So R equivalent. What is R equivalent? R1. So this R1 comes in series with this combination. R3 and R2 are connected in parallel. So R equivalent is basically R1 in series with the parallel combination of R2 and R3. So R equivalent is 50 plus parallel equivalent. So that is 150 into 100 divided by 150 plus 100, 250. So that will give you R equivalent as 110 ohm. Once you know R equivalent, you can find out I1. So I1 is 10 divided by 110, or I1 you will get it as 90.9 milliamperes. So this is how you calculate theoretically the value of I1. So this I1 needs to be checked with experimental value. Right. While varying the RPS voltage to 10, you must have observed I1, right? So that I1 you need to cross check with the theoretical value. Okay. Once I1 is known, you can find I2 using branch current formula. So branch current or current division rule. Okay. So I2, say for example, I2 is nothing but main current, which is I1, into resistance of the other branch, R3, divided by sum of the resistances, R2 plus R3. Okay, so main current is 90.9 into 10 to the power minus 3 into R3, 150, divided by R2 plus R3, 100 plus 150, that is 250. Okay, so $54.54. milliamperes. Okay, so that is your I2. Therefore, I3 is equal to, okay, what is I1? I1 is equal to I2 plus I3, right? Because that is what KVL is all about, right? Incoming current is equal to outgoing current. So current I3 is equal to I minus I2. I1 minus I2. So that is 90.9 minus 54.54 milliamperes. So that will give you I3 value as 36.36 milliamp. So experimentally, you have determined, analytically, you have determined I3, I1, and I2. Okay. So these values you need to compare with the experimental results. So if these values are, matching closely with your experimental results, you can say that the KVL or KCL is verified. Okay. So that's how we solve, or rather conduct, the Kirchhoff's current law experiment. Okay, that is verification of Kirchhoff's current law. Okay. So similarly, you can verify, Kirchhoff's voltage law. So Kirchhoff's voltage law is pretty easy. I will do it for, say, 10 volts plus minus 10 volts, R1, R2, R3. Say this is V1, V2, and V3. So R1 is 50, 100, and 150. Okay. So R1 value is 50 ohm, R2 value is 100 ohm, and R3 value is 150 ohm. So what you can do is you can find out R equivalent. Resistors are connected in series. So 100 plus 150 plus 50, 150 plus 50, 200 plus 100 is 300 ohms. So once you know R equivalent, you can find I. I is equal to V by R equivalent. So V is 10 and R equivalent is 300. So 1/3 is, I think, 33.33 milliamperes. Okay, 1/3 is 33.33 milliamperes. Sorry, 333. Yeah, no, correct. 10 by 1 by 30, right? 1 by 30 is correct. 33.3, correct. Once you know the current, you can easily find out V1. So V1 is equal to I into R1. V2 is equal to I into R2. V3 is equal to I into R3. Okay. So 33.33 into 10 to the power minus 3 into R1. R1 is 50. 1.667 volts. V2 33.33 into 100, okay, into 10 to the power minus 3. Okay, it is double, right? So into 2 you can directly do 3.33. Okay, and this is 33.33 into 150. It's about 4.995 volt. Okay, so that is your K. Okay. When you add up V1 plus V2 plus V3, you should get it as 10 volts, because whatever you supply, what will happen? This voltage gets distributed across the resistors. So when you add up the individual voltages, you must get the effective voltage equal to the supply voltage, that is 10 volts. Okay. So that concludes experiment number 2. So what I will do in each week, let me discuss about 2 experiments. So in the previous lab, I discussed about 1 experiment. So in this particular lab session, I have discussed about 2 experiments. So we are done with totally 3 experiments. So I'm left with now 4 experiments. All right. So in the remaining 2 weeks, let me complete those 2 experiments. So if you have any doubts related to today's experiment, you can ask me. All right. If you haven't given the attendance, please give the attendance in the chat box. If you don't have any doubts, probably you can drop off. All right. Thank you.